Earn it? Payroll tax. Receive it? Income tax. Spend it? Sales tax. Invest it? Capital gains tax. Save it? Inflation. Every move you make with your money, there's a detached hand on the other side waiting at a toll booth. And here's the kicker. They're the ones that built the road. In this episode, we're going to break down how the system extracts value at every stage of your life and how Bitcoin flips the script on that. I'm Oshins. This is Beyond Bitcoin. Get ready for another one.
And of course, the government couldn't really pay for its policies and its wars with taxes. We didn't pay for World War I with tax. We didn't pay for World War II with tax. We didn't pay for Vietnam with tax. In fact, when you trace this, what you realize is the government never pays for all of its policies with tax.
Because it's too painful to ask to raise the taxes to truly, transparently pay for the things you're doing with taxes, with taxpayer money, because they feel the pain.
That's one interpretation, or it's just too transparent. If people understood the true cost
of war, they wouldn't want to go to war.
If you were told that you would lose 95% of your assets, and 90% of everything you will be taken from you, you might reprioritize your thought about a given policy, and you might not vote for that politician.
Before your first paycheck even hits your account, the government takes a cut. That's the payroll tax. Social Security and Medicare totals at about 15.3%. You see half of that, 7.65%, on your pay stub, but your employer pays the other half. And if you're self-employed, you pay the full thing. In 2025, Social Security applies up to $176,100 of wages, while Medicare has no cap. High earners pay an extra 0.9% of Medicare surtax, and this isn't pocket change. Payroll taxes brought in $1.6 trillion in fiscal year of 2023. So about 36% of all federal revenue comes from payroll tax. After payroll, you still face income tax. The U.S. federal system tops out at 37%. And states add their own layer. There's no state income tax in places like Texas, Florida, Nevada, and Washington. But on the other end of the spectrum, California tops out at 13.3%, which is the highest tax rate in the nation. So just depending on your zip code, two people with the same job can be facing wildly different tax rates. So think about this. Earn $100. Payroll trims it down. Income tax slices off another $20 or $30, and already nearly half of your effort disappears into the government's pocket. Now you go on and spend what's left, but there's another hand right around the corner waiting to reach out.
The country needs every ounce of its energy to restore itself. The costs of government are all assessed upon the people. This means that the farmer is doomed to provide a certain amount of money out of the sale of his produce, no matter how low the price, to pay his taxes. The manufacturer, the professional man, the clerk must do the same from their income. The wage earner, often at a higher rate when compared with his earning, makes his contribution, perhaps not directly, but indirectly, in the advanced cost of everything he buys. The expenses of the government reach everybody.
Just so many hands reaching out. Give me a little bit of that pie. I'm of course talking about sales tax. Now there's no sales taxes in places like Montana, Oregon, New Hampshire, and Delaware. But Tennessee, on the other hand, leads at 9.55% on average, state and local, with places like Seattle, Chicago, and Birmingham also pushing above 10%. Birmingham, you Birminghams out there, you know what I'm talking about. Birmingham. Translation: buy a car for $30,000 in Oregon, you'll be paying $30,000. Buy that same car for $30,000 in Tennessee, you'll be paying an extra $2,865 in sales tax. I guess we all have to go to Oregon to buy cars. So by this, you're taxed when you earn, you're taxed when you receive, and you're taxed when you spend. Triple dip. I'm going to cover this, but just in case I have more dipping jokes throughout the video. I want to pause here for a second and talk about our sponsor, Sat123.com. These guys are awesome. They have all the greatest gear for all of your survival needs in times of communication cuts or grid failures. Sat123.com has got you covered. Satellite phones, Faraday bags, solar-powered generators, all the latest gear you need to keep your signal going when the grid goes out, communication lines go down. Go to sat123.com, put in the promo code SIMPLY for 15% off your purchase, because when the grid goes down, you don't want to be without power, and you don't want to be without signal. Sat123.com. Moving on. Let's say you invest what you have left, but still, any success in this field is still penalized. Long-term capital gains tax is taxed at 0%, 15%, or 20% depending on your income. And above certain thresholds, you can tack on another 3.8% of net investment income tax, or NIIT. Stack it up, and someone like a Californian can face up to 37.1% of combined tax, while a Floridian might stick around 20%. Floridians are like people who consume fluoride. Is that what a Floridian is? Damn, so all of these taxes just cutting my pie that's got to be the last of them, right? No! So maybe you just want to skip investing and save your money. But this is where the most cruel tax comes into play, and that's inflation. It doesn't come with a bill. You don't see it on a pay stub, but the silent theft is real. I'm sure you guys felt this, but in June of 2022, inflation peaked at 9.1% year over year. And that's the highest since the early 80s. Even today, at 2025, inflation is still running at 2.7%. That's the headline, and actually it's 3.1% is the core. But those inflation rates that they're saying are not really a reflection of reality, are they? We all know that CPI is a big joke, so you don't really have to take it seriously. And the actual inflation rate is really dictated by your local jurisdiction. Basically, this means that every year your dollar buys you less and less. Translation, you can play by every single rule in the game. Doesn't matter. You earn it, save it, invest it, spend it. You're still going to fall behind.
Because when money becomes a system of control, financial services companies become deputies in this system of enforcement and control. And as deputies, they get some perks. And one of the perks is they never go to jail. Well, with a few exceptions. There are some fundamental rules that always apply to our society. Bernie Madoff went to jail. He made the fundamental mistake of stealing from rich people. Don't do that. Foreclose on 10 million poor people. No problem. Create 3.5 million fake accounts in Wells Fargo? No problem. Lose 143 private records of individuals at Equifax? Let's see some bets. How many executives are going to jail? None. A system of control corrupts the very basis of money until it can no longer function as a medium of exchange. And it breeds economic exclusion. We are now 25 years into the era of the internet, and we are reaching fewer people with economic inclusion. We are actually backtracking historically because increasingly entire countries are being cut off from the world financial system. You don't act in the best interests of the United States, you lose your SWIFT code. You are no longer part of the wire transfer network. You submit to the jurisdiction, the universal jurisdiction of American courts, like Switzerland had to do, or you lose access to international banking. You lose access to the reserve currency. You lose access to the lifeblood. This devil's bargain has made financial services unassailable from a point of competition. They are surrounded by a thicket of regulations, and these regulations are not about consumer protection. Consumers are most certainly not protected. They are most certainly about the system of control of money. They are about the law enforcement and policy enforcement, and sometimes straight up politics enforcement that comes with money.
So at every turn, every transaction, every exchange, the pie is being sliced. But what if it wasn't? Hey, Oshins, can you cue the Bitcoin messaging, please?
It is one of the most effective systems of control that exists. And now it has to face competition from a system that will not do that, that cannot be made to do that, that will not yield, that will not be co-opted. And what's the response? Ha! Bitcoin's a joke. Cryptocurrencies, they're outside the system. Nobody wants to be outside the system. Guess what? There's 6 billion people out there. They don't want to be outside the system. They'd much rather be inside, but they haven't been invited, and they probably won't. And many of them can't do the things that are necessary to be invited into the system. And guess what? There's an entire generation that has now discovered the 2 forms of power that come to people. First form is voice, and the second form is exit. You either speak up with your voice, express your political will, and force change, and when that doesn't work, you get to the second most important power that all humans have, and that's exit. Now, borders have been erected for millennia to prevent exit, to slow down exit. You can't easily emigrate, opt out, colonize, depart, exit. But what happens when exit is not a physical act, but a virtual act? What happens when people decide to exit from the financial system in a virtual way? Vrexit. Bitexit. You can keep the inside of the gilded cage. It is demographically stagnated, it's over-leveraged, it's swimming in debt, it's out of control, and it serves a tiny sliver of the population. You can keep it.
Bitcoin changes the rules. No payroll tax on your mine sats, no inflation bleeding your savings, no central authority deciding how much your money is worth. Just 21 million forever. I just want 21 million forever. I just want 21 million forever. That's right, 21 million forever. When you own Bitcoin, you are not renting your money from the system. You're opting out of the toll booth. Sounds pretty good. And if you want to opt out of that toll booth in a completely sovereign way and support the network, go to Sazmining.com. Sazmining.com offers Bitcoin mining made simple. They host and maintain your rigs remotely, sourcing renewable energy like hydropower to power your miners. You own the hardware, they handle the uptime and operations. They position many of their facilities carbon-free, so you can mine sustainably while stacking sats. And if you want exposure to mining without the noise and headaches, go to Sazmining.com, book a call with one of their expert team members, and start mining today. Taxes are the bane of existence. Bitcoin fixes this. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Oshins. This is Beyond Bitcoin. If you like what you see and you want to see more, hit that like button below, right below there, or you can hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the Simply Bitcoin channel for more content like this. We're coming out with it every single day. Every single day. And do not forget to hit that notification bell. Beyond that, this is Beyond Bitcoin. Until next time.